Have you ever lost someone so deeply that even the silence hurt? This is the story of Martha and a wounded fox who appeared when she needed hope the most. Whispers of the Willow is a gentle tale of loss, healing, and the unspoken bond between souls. Stay till the end. The cottage stood in quiet mourning. Its walls, once whitewashed and warm, had dulled with time and grief. The garden, once filled with laughter and the sound of a child's running feet, had grown still. Over the years, ivy had crept across the stone pathway, as if trying to stitch back what had been lost. Martha lived alone in that cottage now. The willow tree, planted in the center of the yard, towered above everything else, its long tendrils swaying with a grief that mirrored her own. She had planted it the day after Daniel's funeral. Her son, her bright-eyed boy, who had left for a simple bike ride and never returned. She hadn't spoken much since. The villagers left flowers on her gate from time to time, small offerings to a woman they pitied but didn't know how to comfort. But Martha didn't mind the silence. It felt appropriate. The world had stopped making noise the day Daniel left it. One spring morning, while collecting dry branches beneath the willow, she heard it, a faint whimper, low and broken, like a cry swallowed too soon. She bent down and brushed aside the fallen leaves and ivy. There, tucked against the roots, was a fox cub. Its fur was matted, a gash along its side, weeping red. Martha hesitated. The fox blinked up at her, breathing shallowly. Instinct warred with emotion. She could walk away. But something in its eyes, fragile, trusting, and terribly alive, reached inside her like a key. She lifted it gently. Inside, she cleaned the wound, wrapping it with trembling hands. The fox didn't fight. It barely moved, only watched her with those glassy, flickering eyes. She placed it on a warm towel by the fireplace and sat nearby, unsure what she had just invited into her life. For 3 days, she nursed it, fed it softened bits of food, changed the bandage, spoke softly, words she didn't realize she still had. On the 4th day, it licked her hand. "Ash," she said, naming him after the tree's bark. "That's what you are, software, scattered, still burning." The fox stayed. Ash followed her through the garden, curling beside her when she read by the fire. When he was strong enough, he began to venture outside, always returning before nightfall. Then, one morning, she found it, a marble, placed neatly at the base of the willow. She frowned, picking it up. Blue and gold swirled inside. Her breath caught. Daniel had a jar full of these. He used to line them up on the porch, naming them like stars. Ash watched her from the distance, tail flicking. The next morning, there was a crayon, red, stubby, with bite marks, and a button, a shoelace. One by one, tiny artifacts appeared, each one a whisper from a past she'd sealed shut. She began to wait for them. Each morning, she'd walk to the willow with her heart fluttering, wondering what would be there. She never saw Ash deliver them, but he'd always be near, eyes soft, ears perked. One rainy day, she found a drawing, crayon on paper, faded and smudged. A stick figure holding hands with a smaller one. The larger one had a scribbled dress. "Mom plus me," written above in a child's uncertain hand. She clutched it to her chest and sobbed beneath the willow, Ash pressed against her side. That evening, the wind howled through the trees, and she lit a candle in Daniel's old room. Ash curled on the bed as if he belonged there, as if he had always belonged. Weeks passed. Spring deepened. Martha smiled more. She began to hum again, tunes Daniel once hummed. The garden stirred back to life. She planted marigolds and snapdragons, clearing away the ivy that had grown unchecked. Each day, Ash would sit patiently by her side as she worked, his presence grounding her in the now even as he guided her through the then. But she still didn't know where the trinkets came from. Then, one night, unable to sleep, she watched from the window. Ash darted through the garden, something in his mouth. He trotted to the willow and gently placed it at its base. A toy car. Her heart ached with questions. How did he know? How did this wounded fox find pieces of her son's past? The next day she followed him, through the woods, across the stream. He led her to a clearing, a broken fence, crumbling wood, and scattered debris. Daniel's old treehouse. She hadn't returned since the accident. Inside, half buried under leaves and time, were boxes. Toys, drawings, trinkets from a life paused. Ash pawed through them gently, selecting one, then looking at her. Tears blurred her vision. "You're bringing him back to me," she whispered, one memory at a time. After that, they returned together. Each visit, she brought something home, cleaned it, placed it on a shelf. Her house, once heavy with silence, now echoed with soft reminders of life. That evening, the sky was streaked with the soft lavender hues of twilight, and a hush had settled over the garden. The willow swayed gently, its tendrils whispering in a language only the heart could understand. Ash sat beneath it, his eyes reflecting the fading light, a quiet sentinel. Martha held the newest trinket in her palm, a rusted harmonica, its bellows worn but familiar. Daniel's. He used to sit on the porch with it in the summer evenings, puffing out broken melodies, laughing when he got the notes wrong. Her fingers trembled as they brushed its ridges, and she could almost hear his laughter riding on the breeze. She looked down at Ash, and tears welled in her eyes, not from sorrow, but from the strange, inexplicable fullness in her chest. Ash wasn't just bringing her things. He was returning her son to her, one memory at a time. She whispered, "How do you know, little one?" Ash tilted his head as if he understood everything, and then he rose and walked behind the willow, disappearing into the brush. Martha followed. Behind the tree's wide base, nestled in the roots, was something new, a shallow dip in the earth. In it, every trinket Ash had brought, each carefully arranged like a shrine. The marbles, the shoelace, the crayon drawing, the harmonica. In the center, placed like a crown, was a photo Martha hadn't seen in decades. Daniel as a boy, his arms wrapped around a red fox plushie, smiling up at the camera with wind-blown hair and grass-stained knees. She gasped, a hand to her heart. This photograph had been lost in a storm years ago. She dropped to her knees, touching it as if it might vanish. Above her, the willow's branches rustled. A single leaf broke free, spinning gently in the breeze before landing beside the photo. Martha closed her eyes and let the tears fall, not from pain, but from the strange, wondrous sense that she had not been alone in her grief after all. Somehow, through the soft beating heart of a wounded fox cub and the sacred roots of a willow tree, Daniel had found a way to whisper back. Ash returned, stepping silently beside her, and nestled his head into her lap. She stroked his fur with one hand, the photo held in the other. "I hear you, Daniel," she whispered. "I hear you now." Above them, the stars began to blink into the sky, one by one. And beneath the willow, love, memory, and wild companionship were stitched forever into the earth. And when the first snow arrived, Martha wrapped a scarf around Ash and walked him to the treehouse one last time. Together, they buried the last item, a tiny music box that still played a lullaby she used to sing. She didn't cry. She smiled, because she knew she had been given back something precious. Not just memories, but a way to live again. Under the willow, the wind whispered, not with sorrow, but with peace. A boy's laughter echoed faintly between the branches, and a fox's tail flicked in gentle agreement. And in that sacred quiet, Martha finally felt home. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment and share your thoughts. Grief is universal, but so is healing. And we hope Whispers of the Willow reminded you of that. Subscribe for more stories that stir the soul. Until next time, stay kind, stay connected.